Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is yet another Eurovision 2025 related video here on my channel, and another installment in this series I'm doing where I focus on the Saturday Showdowns, or Super Saturdays, of the Eurovision 2025 season. This is where I go through all of the events taking place across Europe on a given Saturday, or indeed weekend, of this particular Eurovision season, talking about any national final lineups and also making a few predictions here and there as well as telling you some of my personal favourites from the shows that are coming up. As always, you're welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. I would also like to remind you that I will be filming a Q&A video, all being well, on Sunday the 23rd of February. If you would like me to answer any questions you might have, Eurovision related or otherwise, please get your questions in by leaving them in the comments section of a video that I uploaded a short time ago titled Q&A Announcement. I will see them, and as long as they're not too personal, I will answer them in that upcoming Q&A video. Anyway, let's focus on what's happening over the next couple of days in the world of Eurovision 2025. I have the post that's on the official Eurovision Instagram page loaded up in front of me, and it says here that we have 5 events taking place on Saturday, February the 22nd. We have Heat 4 of Sweden's mFest. That gets going at 8 p.m. CET. We have the semi-final of Germany's selection, which is at 8:15 CET. We have the final of Iceland's Songvakeppnin at 8:45 CET. The first semi-final of Portugal's Festival de Canção is at 10 p.m. CET, and we have the first semi-final of San Marino's selection at 11 p.m. CET. It says here it's called Una Voce per San Marino, but it's not called that anymore. It is now known as the San Marino Song Contest 2025. So there we go. On Sunday, February the 23rd, we have the second semi-final of San Marino's selection at 11 p.m. CET. On Monday, the 24th of February, semi-final 3 from San Marino at 11 p.m. CET. On Tuesday, the 25th of February, we have Australia's song. Yes, out of the blue, it's coming to us at 7 p.m. CET. We have the first semi-final of Serbia's selection, Pesma za Euroviziju. I've seen very few people really talk about Serbia this year for whatever reason. Then again, I'm not really looking at online comments that much. But the first semi-final from Serbia is this upcoming Tuesday at 9 p.m. CET. And the fourth semi-final of San Marino's selection at 11 p.m. CET. Then on Wednesday, February the 26th, semi-final 2 from Serbia at 9 p.m. CET. And the fifth semi-final from San Marino at 11 p.m. CET. Honestly, if you are planning to follow San Marino's selection, all power to you, because it sounds like it is going to be the most long-winded thing imaginable. I will be not really paying attention to it whatsoever. So, I'm just going to take a look here as well at the lineup for this year so far, because I think it's this time of year, this time of a Eurovision season, where it feels as though the focus is starting to shift ever so slightly away from national finals, mainly because we don't have too many left, and the attention is starting to be drawn towards the internal choices that are coming our way. And I've said previously on my channel quite a few times now that I've found this Eurovision season to be somewhat difficult and rather stinky, so I'm hoping the internally selected tracks save the day in a sense. Australia I've just mentioned. We're getting the Austrian song in March, and we know the singer and we know the song title, Wasted Love, and we know who's written it, the singer themselves, and Taya from Taya and Selena for Austria in 2023 in Liverpool. I have a sneaky feeling that could be a real moment, that song. I just get the sense that it could be something quite special. Don't know why. We move on. Croatia, we don't need to worry about yet. Cyprus, we've known the singer for ages. We're going to be getting the song within the next few weeks. Czechia, Kiss Kiss Goodbye, we've heard the acoustic version. I was impressed. We're getting the real deal on March the 7th. Denmark, don't need to worry about them yet. France, the highly anticipated track by Luan, is coming on March the 15th. Georgia, when they remember they're in Eurovision, we'll find out more. I have actually seen a rumoured name for them though. Can't remember who it was. It was a female musician. So whether that actually turns out to be the case or not, we'll find out in due course. Germany, I'll talk about in a moment. Iceland, we'll talk about in a moment. Israel, March the 9th for that song. Italy, who knows? Ollie won Sanremo last weekend. He was the favourite coming into it, I believe. Balorda Nostalgia is a nice track. However, he has yet to confirm whether he's going to do Eurovision or not. I'm not sure he really needs to. He's selling out big venues later in the year anyway, I believe. But he has only a short amount of time now to confirm to the Italian broadcaster if he's going to do it or not. If it's not going to be him, it will almost certainly be the runner-up, Lucio Corsi, and if it's not them, then it will probably be Bruno Risas, and they'll just keep going down the list of results from last week's Sanremo final. Alternatively, the broadcaster might just pick whoever they like from Sanremo, and I'm sure those discussions are happening behind closed doors as I speak to you now. We will find out more shortly. We're getting the Dutch entry on February the 27th. That could be a corker. Portugal, talk about them in a moment. San Marino, talk about them in a moment. Serbia, that's coming up soon. Sweden, that's coming up. The final is next month. We have 2 more semi-finals before that. Switzerland, nobody is talking about the host nation. Are they looking to do the double? You never know. And then the UK, shite show. The BBC have said nothing. Their social media pages, as usual, are in hibernation from the moment one contest finishes until pretty much the start of the next one. There's been a few rumoured names, of course. Remember Monday, this 3-piece girl group. They've been mentioned in the press, in national newspapers. They are doing it. That's what the press is saying. But there's been no official confirmation yet. And I have a feeling that the longer this goes on, and there isn't that much longer it can go on, it's either going to be them, and it will be the most underwhelming announcement imaginable, or it's going to be somebody nobody has spoken about yet. That would be far more interesting. Anyway, and that's the situation with some other countries there. Let's now focus specifically on what is happening this weekend. So I did make a video about Heat 4 of Sweden's mFest. This is not looking like the strongest heat we've had so far. I have been following mFest somewhat closely, and if you want to hear my thoughts in a bit more detail, then just check out the videos that I've made over the past few weeks. Last week was Heat 3. I thought it was the strongest heat thus far. Gresula and Annika Vicky Helder making the final in Stockholm next month. Dolly Style going through to the second chance round thingamajig at the end of Heat 5 2 weeks from now. Or rather next week, of course. This time around we have in Malmö Andreas Lundstedt, who's going for a fairly up-tempo type track. It sounds okay. We have Ella Tiritiello, very nice. The teaser didn't really give much away though. Tennessee Tears, I'm already sensing that I'm going to enjoy this one slightly less compared to their previous effort in mFest a few years ago. Kai, or KAJ, with Barabarabastu. A lot of people are responding quite warmly to that one, and it's definitely one to keep an eye on this upcoming weekend. Amena with Do Good Be Better. I'm not sure that's in with much of a chance. And then, of course, Mons with Revolution. I've seen images of how it's going to come across live. Some rehearsal footage was also floating around on social media earlier today, which was very surprising because you're not supposed to be filming that. But Mons is a very seasoned performer and a former Eurovision winner. I don't have a problem with him. I really don't. What I have a problem with is this feeling that he's coming back, potentially, to win Eurovision again and be able to say, yes, I have won Eurovision twice. I'm like Johnny Logan, a guy who's won the competition twice. Now, I'm sure that's not really why Mons is coming back at all, but he's got nothing to prove. So I don't really understand why he's here. Anyway, I heard the snippet of the song. It sounds fine, and you know that it's going to be delivered in a fairly slick, polished manner, and the staging will elevate it no end, which was the case a decade ago in Vienna with Heroes. If it wasn't for the puppet on the screen next to him, I'm not saying he wouldn't have won, but I think it definitely elevated his chances a little more because it made the song stand out a little bit more. And the juries, They love interesting staging. Take a look at Benjamin Ingrosso in Lisbon a couple of years ago for the same country. Ooh, he's got a light-up podium. Forget the song, this looks really cool. Points, 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 points. The public, on the other hand, saw right through that and dished out very little indeed. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble big time. Mons, I think, is well on course to win mFest by a country mile, and that just makes it really predictable and quite dull. And it's never fun, any national final, or indeed Eurovision itself, when you sort of know what's going to happen. In 2023 in Liverpool, the grand final, as much as so many people were rooting for Finland, I think even they knew deep down that it was a tall order to win that year's competition, because Loreen was very likely to absolutely walk the jury vote, and she was always going to do well with the public. We'll just have to wait and see what happens this time around. Let's not forget, Loreen did compete before Euphoria, didn't make the final, and she did compete after Euphoria and didn't make the final with Statements, and then obviously she came back with Tattoo and won the whole thing. With Mons, he didn't win with Cara Mia, he didn't win with Hope and Glory, he did win with Heroes, so is this going to be his second mFest victory, or is it going to be another effort that falls short? Like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. My God, I'm rambling terribly. Let's crack on and move away from Sweden and focus on Germany. Now, Germany, some of the songs are out. I know this for sure because people have been talking about them. However, not all of the songs are upon us yet, and as such there has been no reaction video from me. I don't know whether I will do one in the next couple of days, we'll just have to wait and see. We've already had 2 shows on February the 14th and 15th where the artists were split into one of these 2 shows and performed either a cover song or one of their own songs, and then a jury voted on which artists should progress. Very odd that they weren't performing their actual potential Eurovision track. I think that's strange and somewhat unfair because, for example, Janine, who's out, Any May and Paradigm also out, Noah Levi out, Adina out. They might have songs capable of winning Eurovision for all we know, but they're not going to get the chance to perform them live because they've been eliminated because of a cover song or one of their own songs that they performed several days ago. A really weird method for this national final. Anyway, the semi-final is tomorrow. The remaining 14 artists will perform their Eurovision candidate tracks, and an expert jury will select 9 names to proceed through to the final. Stefan Raab is obviously very much involved. I think that's a good thing. Looking at who we've got left, we've got Abor and Tinna, Benjamin Braatz, who's written the song themselves, Cage with Golden Hour, If Jesus Saw What We Did Last Night by Cloudy June, I'm Still Here by Cosby, Nightclub by Feuerschwanz, and oh boy, I think Germany will vote for that in enormous numbers. That is maybe the one to beat. We have Take the Pain Away by From Fall to Spring. We have Jaln, but we don't have a song yet. Golden Child by Jonathan Henrik, also written by the singer themselves, which is great to see. Empress by Julika, Leonora. Lovers on Mars by Liza, and looking at that songwriting team, don't want to say that it's come out of the DMGP or mFest songbook, but Anders Rethov is there. Who knows? Nothing Can Stop Love by Moss Kenner, and the great Leslie, who are British, pretty much. They have been mentioned in the British press this week about being in contention for Germany. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, Feuerschwanz, if I was a betting man, I'd be putting a little bit of money on them to win the whole thing, because they're just the sort of group, I think, that are really going to light up that stage and get a lot of love. Anyway, that's the situation with Germany. There's not much else to say, to be honest with you. Iceland's Songverkeppnin. This has all the makings of a crap fest. They are going to perform at Eurovision in the first half of semi-final 1. We've already had the semi-finals on February the 8th and February the 15th. 5 songs in each show, and public votes determined the 3 to progress through to this upcoming final, where there will be a jury vote, 7 international juries, it must be worth saying, and public votes, and there's no super final. It is the winner takes it all. May the odds be ever in your favour. The lineup is as follows: August with Like You, Bjarni Arason with Áþins Lengur, Julian Disa with Fire, Vibe with Roa, Tina with Words, and Stebby Jack with Set Me Free. Honestly, I've no idea who's going to win this. Vibe are the favourites. The two guys, a rather lively Fröken Snusk sounding type track. It's not too bad. If I was a gambling man, I'd be saying yes, they're probably going to do it. But I also really sense that this could go in a completely different direction. Stebby Jack is right there, and I would not be surprised if Iceland vote for him in big numbers, even though the song is fairly unremarkable. Tina should be in with a great shot, that's a lovely track. Julian Disa, also one of the big favourites, that's a fine effort. Bjarni Arason, massively forgettable, sings it quite well. Would not be surprised if Iceland go big for that one as well. August, fairly meh, without meaning to sound rude. I'm not sure that's in with much of a chance, but honestly, this could go any way. And no matter who comes out on top, it is going to be a bit of a struggle, I think, for Iceland to leave much of an impression on stage in Basel this year. I just don't think there's anything here that's really getting enough people excited. Birgo was there in semi-final 1, and Iceland said, you know what, it might be the best song that we've got. That's just my opinion, admittedly, but it's the best song we've got. Let's not put it through. 5 songs, 3 go through, and the best one, we're not going to vote through. What are you doing? No idea. No idea. Anyway, we have 6 in the final. It is what it is. We now move on to Portugal's FDC. So Portugal, as I've said previously, FDC is a national selection that I've been following somewhat closely for a good few years now. Ever since Portugal won several years ago, I have been paying a little bit more attention to what's going on there. You can come across some really underrated gems. Taking a look at this year's batch, I wouldn't say it's sensational, but it's really not too bad at all. The first semi-final is obviously tomorrow at the time of this recording. We have Chico Gaiato, Rita Sampaio, Do Nothing, Marco Rodrigues, Margarida Campello, Josh, massive favourite, lovely song, perhaps the one to beat with Tristesha, Capital de Bulgaria, Lisboa, lovely song, my second favourite of this whole selection. Josh is number 3. We have Blue with Ninguém, Jessica Pina and Peculiar. And how is this working? We have jury voting and public voting. In each show, 10 entries will compete, 6 go through to the final. A 50-50 combination of votes from the jury and a public televote will determine the first 5 qualifiers, and a second round of televoting will determine the 6th and final qualifier. So from tomorrow's show, I fully expect Josh to maybe win it, Peculiar with Adamastor to go through as well, Capital de Bulgaria, she'll probably go through, Rita Sampaio might well go through, I'm not sure about anybody else. As for semi-final 2, we have A Cantadeira, Tota, Bombazine, Emmy Curl, who's been involved before, that's not a bad song, Inês Marques Lucas, that's a lovely track, bit of an underrated gem, Fernando Daniel, pretty big name, could be in with a chance of winning, Luca Argel featuring Pri Azevedo, Napa, that's definitely in with a chance, Diana Villarinho, that's apparently one of the favourites, don't really know why. And then we have Henke with I Wanna Destroy You. And this is my FDC winner. Oh boy, that on the Eurovision stage? I can see it now, standing out an absolute mile. Whoa, I didn't know Portugal could do something like this. Fantastic. Now, I've seen a few comments from individuals saying we don't want this at Eurovision, it's not in Portuguese, ignoring the fact that the Black Mamba sang a song entirely in English several years ago for Portugal and did quite well for themselves. And also, this type of song, it's fairly aggressive, it's quite in your face, it's not necessarily that accessible to a lot of people who don't listen to this type of music, and it could very well be messy live. However, why not take a little bit of a gamble? This stands out so much across this national final, all of these songs together, this is the one that just, boom, really leaps out. And I'm really enjoying it. And if it is very strong live, I'll be rooting for this one moving forwards. However, I am expecting it to be Josh. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Now, as for San Marino, I will touch on them very briefly. What an absolute mess. They're in the second half of semi-final 1 this May. Semi-final 1, we have the Hungarian group Carson Coma. Watch out for them. We also have Catch the Giant, Il Solito Dandy, King Fu, who have been involved in Slovenia's national selection before, I believe, Le Blonde, The Leaf, The Unknown Voices, Vimoksha, and several others. I believe it's a jury deciding who goes through here, and I've no idea how many go through from each semi-final. I really don't know. Anyway, semi-final 2, we have Alexis Strum, who's English. We have Juliet Chris. We have Leon the Singer. Romeo Zaharia, who's been involved in a national final for somebody else before. Moldova, maybe? I can't remember. Snap Out are in semi-final 2. Semi-final 3, we have Alien Cut featuring Ziggy. We have Magenta Number 9, Mr. and Mrs., Sick and Beautiful, Space Particles, Stavros Salabasopoulos, and Vicky Navarro, among others. In semi-final 4, we have Andromeda, Denny Music, Georgina, Marty Puerto, and Side 74. Lots of names I'm not familiar with at all. Semi-final 5, we have Bessa, who represented Albania last year. We have the Luca Grillo live band. We have Neshe, who is Turkish and has a Wikipedia page, and The Rumpled. In semi-final 6, we have Energia, Julius Camil, Marco Di Pinto, Rai Style, and Teslenko. Atla Pettersson has withdrawn, apparently. That's quite interesting. And then we do have a semi-final for purely San Marinese artists, including Kidda, La Mafi, and The Reagents. It is so damn long-winded. Honestly, even if I was from San Marino, very much loving Eurovision, and very much following this Eurovision season, I'm not sure I'd have the patience to sit through all of this. So I've no idea what to expect, and I don't think many people are really going to be following this over the next couple of days. The final's on March the 8th. There are going to be big artists, and I have seen something online suggesting that Evangelia, the runner-up of the Greek selection, could be one of those names. I doubt it, but you never know. And it will also be interesting to see if any Sanremo artist is going to be in this San Marino national final as well, because I did read something the other day suggesting that the San Marino broadcaster might be asking RAI, the Italian broadcaster, about this. So who knows, maybe somebody like Clara or Gaia could well be involved in San Marino's national final, which will take place on March the 8th. Anyway, I am going to leave it there. This has turned out to be a terribly messy and rambling video from me once again, but let me know your thoughts on what's happening over the next couple of days. Am I forgetting anything in particular? I don't think so. There's no real point talking about Serbia. That's next Tuesday. I do need to revisit those songs, but I'm expecting Mimi Mercedes, I think it is, to come out on top there. Yeah, that's about it. All eyes really are starting to move now to the internal songs, which means more reaction videos from me moving forwards. I am so pumped for France, the Netherlands, Czechia, and maybe Austria have something very special lined up as well. We'll wait and see. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.